Hello. Today I wanted to talk about the finding I read in neuroscience research. And it's very important because it brings us closer to understanding of symptoms of depression. So let's begin. Recently I found a link to a research which is published a couple of days ago. I'm going to give the link below if you want to read original publication. Just to remind ourselves that one of the most important symptoms of someone who is suffering from depression is that people feel fatigue, very low energy, they're unable to do previously regular tasks and things like that. So one of the most important symptoms which majority of people who are clinically depressed report to their therapists is that they have very low energy, that they are very tired. Usually it has connection to differences in sleep patterns, so it isn't actually insomnia. Some of them, they cannot sleep, some of them just turn to be very alert much earlier than usual. So that lack of sleep is sometimes connected to the very low energy drive, sometimes not. It says, actually, individuals who had suffered from persistent depressive disorder over the course of their lives showed increased cell deformability in monocytes and neutrophils, while erythrocytes were more deformable in current persistent depressive disorder. Also, lymphocytes were more deformable in individuals with current depressive disorder. We also found in our research that when you try to figure out what is different in persons suffering from depression in their electrophysiological signals like ECG or EEG, it is shown that their electrophysiology differs. We cannot say for sure why we found the difference, but we figured out that that difference actually can be used to trace the progress of disease. I think that in researchers who are active in this computational psychiatry, innovations in psychiatry in general, are actually looking for new clues, new biomarkers, new signs, which are in combination with clinical picture, giving much more accurate picture of the physiological state of the patient, leading to much better diagnostic decisions and information that clinician has in order to support and take care of their patients in much more efficient way. This novel research actually gives us very interesting take on why that symptom is very often present in clinical picture. So this is actually the finding that pathophysiological features of blood cells, or in general our immune system, is affected very much so with depression. I just wanted to give some highlights from this study published in Translational Psychiatry. And researchers actually performed a cross-section analysis control study using image-based morphorheological characterization of unmanipulated blood samples, facilitating real-time deformability cytometry, RTDC. So basically what they did, they take the blood samples from people who are clinically depressed and from people who are healthy controls, and compared actually what the differences are between the blood cells. And the finding is that their blood cells are actually easier to deform. Meaning that they're less prone to damage than in a group of people who didn't actually have a depression. The sample size is not so big, I would say medium, because it is 69 patients diagnosed with depression and 70 healthy controls. And they found that peripheral blood cells were more deformable in patients with depressive disorders compared to control subjects, while cell size was not affected. So what kind of cells we are talking about? First of all, the first author of this study is Dr. Andreas Walter, who conducted the study at the chair of biopsychology at TU Dresden, but he's also involved in clinical psychology and psychotherapy at the University of Zurich. Again, very important collaboration with several different centers of technology, like, for example, Max Planck Institute. And he said, we are working in parallel on research into pharmacological therapies to improve the dysfunctional biology, as well as psychological therapies to improve dysfunctional cognitive and emotional processes. Indeed, in my opinion, only a holistic approach can understand and efficiently treat this complex disorder and hopefully prevent much suffering in the future. All major blood cells tend to show increased deformability, meaning that they are more fragile to damage. Lymphocytes, monocytes, and neutrophils are most affected. This suggests that mechanical changes in immune cells occur in depressive disorders, which could be causative for sustained immune response. So it is not novel idea among researchers who were observing their patients during trying to find the differences, what actually should be as a biomarker or what actually helps, what is basically wrong with those suffering from this debilitating disease. But this is very important finding because it says also that the immune system of the person who is suffering from depression is not good enough. So maybe what is underneath in physiological sense in depression is much more complex than we thought before. Thank you for listening, and please share your thoughts on this below. I would like to have feedback from my followers. Thank you very much.